Hello everybody, so today I'm going to review The Ruby Circle by Richelle Mead, and this is the sixth and final book in the Bloodlines series. So this is going to be full of spoilers, so if you haven't read the book, don't watch this video. Just don't. So first of all, I hope you like my new background, my door of fame, and this is because I'm renovating and the other part of my room is like under construction, so I can't film there, and I'm standing right beside my door, so I can't speak that loud, or otherwise the other people in my house will hear me and think I'm crazy. So back to the book. So my overall opinion of this is spoiler free, so you can still stay and watch this. And I'm really struggling with my opinion because I liked it. I really liked it, but for me it isn't the last book in a series because I love Richelle Mead and I love everything by her, and Last Sacrifice was just such an epic last book, so I had really high hopes for this, and then I was kind of disappointed. And I think I'm the only one who's disappointed in this book, because everybody is like, oh, this was such an epic book, but for me it wasn't really such an epic book. So the first 180 pages I was just so freaking bored, and with bored I mean it wasn't really happening anything. So yeah, for me not really that epic. So because after the 180 pages it got better, and I love the epilogue, it still got 4.5 stars out of 5. So yeah, I was really struggling with the rating. So I'm going to go in my detailed discussion now, so if you haven't read the book, go away and come back later after you've read this one. So see you then, bye! So, hey people who actually read this book. So we're starting off with Adrian hiding at the court, and that's it, like they're just hiding from the alchemists, and all the Morais hate them because Adrian is so weird with marrying a human, and nothing really else happens besides that Mrs. T comes visiting and gets Sydney out of there, and Sydney becomes a cat, and that was like one of my favorite scenes ever, especially the scenes afterwards where Sydney was a human again and texted with Adrian. That was really cool. So that scene I really liked, but besides that not really much is happening, and for me it was kind of a time waste. And then later on Rose is there, and Rose is just, I just love her. I love her character so much, so I was basically screaming when we had the first Rose scene. And yeah, that says something. The first time I was really excited was when the main character from Vampire Academy showed up. So, and then we have Sydney, Ellie, and Mrs. Girl. I can't speak out her name, so I'm just going to call her Mrs. T, hunting for Jill, and then we have them checking out all these crazy places and them searching for the new clues to find Jill. And I think that was like such a huge part of this book, to actually find Jill, and then when they found her it was just like, yay, they found Jill, and nothing else was happening. So that was kind of disappointing because it all depended to find Jill, and then we had nearly nothing when they actually found her. So that was weird. And we also have the problem with Nina and Olive, and Nina trying to find Olive with all the crazy spirit dreams where Olive takes control. And then we have Adrian who wants to help and uses all the spirit, and I think at that point I thought it was like the worst idea ever for Adrian to help, because he was already hearing on Tatiana more and more often, and that's the thing on Tatiana. she annoyed me so freaking much the whole time. And I just, no, that was so annoying for me, and that was the most annoying thing in the whole book on Tatiana. Yeah, not really seeing the point why she was there, because in the end they didn't really explain her why Adrian healed her. I mean, it was the spirit, but why? Why? Because Adrian is the only spirit user who hears voices of his dead aunt. So that was really weird. Then we had Romitry joining Sydney, and I was just so happy because that meant that we will have more Rose and Dimitri in this book. And I think I'm wrong here because I'm more excited for Rose and Dimitri than for Sydney and Adrian's story. That is just so wrong of me. But I still love Sydney and Adrian, but I think Richelle shouldn't have written so many Rose and Dimitri in here, because I was just mainly excited for the Rose and Dimitri part and not for Sydney and Adrian. And then we have the scene where they're in the vampire commune and they're finding Olive, and Olive is pregnant. First of all, what the fuck? And then we have the scene where we find out that Dimitri and Adrian are related. And that was my first what the fuck is happening here moment in the whole book. I was just like, what the hell? And then we had this totally awesome scene with Dimitri and Adrian. Like, do you know him or something? Dimitri eyed me. Yes. Do you? Yeah, I said. He's my uncle, Randy Vashkov. Oh, and Dimitri's hardened expression didn't change. He's my father. And first I had to laugh so much because that's just typical of Dimitri. He finds his father again after I don't know how many years, and he's just like, my father. And then he finds out that he's related to Adrian, and he's still, yeah, he's my father. So I just love Dimitri. And then we have the whole thing with Olive's kid called Declan. First of all, that's a weird name, and then Declan is a vampire kid born from a vampire and a vampire, which is impossible. So I was really curious what would happen with him, because he's like a new race. He has spirit in him, and it seems like he's immune to Strigoi, and that's like this huge thing. And I thought they would at least in the end explain something, or there would be more, but it wasn't explained at all, and that was really unsatisfying because there are so many questions left open, just like with Declan and all the other stuff, like with Aunt Tatiana, why she was in his head, in Adrian's head, and yeah, so many things were left open, and that's why I'm not really satisfied with this. And then of course we have the Warriors of Light, and we see that they had Jill because Alicia, who we thought was dead, wasn't dead, and she kidnapped Jill and brought her to the Warriors of Light. And yeah, of course, the Warriors of Light, those epic assholes, were here again. Yeah. And then we have Sydney and Eddie trying to get into the Warriors of Light to become part of them so they could search the whole compound to find Jill. And so Sydney gets to steal the laptop from whoever his name was. And of course, the one information missing was the location. And then at the same time we had Adrian compelling Alicia to get information about Jill, where she is. And of course, the one information Adrian gets out of her is the location of Jill. So, of course. So that wasn't surprising at all. Of course, Adrian gets the one information that is missing. But then we have finally some really badass fighting action when they try to get Jill, because Alicia summoned a demon, and that demon is such a huge pain in the ass because it has I don't know how many heads and it's just totally weird looking. And it has acid, which he spits at the people. So, holy hell, what is happening? But Sydney saves the day with her magic, and that is one thing that I love about this book, because from Bloodlines to the Ruby Circle we have so many character development with Sydney, from the frightened little alchemist to this badass human witch who can stand her own and stays in and stands up for her opinions, which I really love. And that is one of my favorite things in the whole series, the character development. And then, like I said, it wasn't really anything happening that Jill was back, because that's another thing that was left open, that we don't know if Lisa was able to change the HR and if Jill has to stay alive so Lisa can be the queen, and that's like one of the main points in this whole book. Like, the main point was to keep Jill safe so Lisa could change the law, but we don't get the answer to that. We don't know if she could change it. We have Sydney and Adrian adopting Declan so he could stay safe, and that was just like, aww, because you can really see how cute Sydney and Adrian are as parents, and now they have their own child. That is just so cute. Yeah, and then we have the epilogue, and I absolutely loved the epilogue. That was the favorite part of the whole book for me. Like, I loved it how Sydney and Adrian finally were free and could live together, and Eddie and Jill were together, and Rose and Dimitri were together, and then we had the scene where Rose and Dimitri eloped, and oh my gosh, that made me cry. I had to cry the whole epilogue through after that scene where we saw that Rose and Dimitri would get married. That was just perfection for me, and I had to cry so much. I couldn't stop. And then we have all this cuteness with Adrian and Sydney, and I just couldn't stop crying anymore. And yeah, that's basically all that was happening in the book, roughly together. And like I said, not really a last book for me, but whatever, cause in the acknowledgements Richelle wrote that maybe we're getting another book in the Vampire Academy series. And that makes me so happy, because I really think she will do it, because there was left so much open that I really think she plans on writing that book and not just saying like, maybe there's coming another book, and 20 years later we still don't have another book. But there's left so much open, which normally isn't Richelle's style, so I bet we will get another book, which I really hope. That's my hope. Yeah, so that was like basically everything I had to say about the Ruby Circle. So thank you all for watching, and I will see you in my next video. Goodbye!